We're so proud of Ethan's promotion. Unlike some people, my aunt said, looking right at me. I don't even know how to start this. I've never written anything like this before, but I need to get it out of me before I explode. So, here goes. This all blew up last weekend. My family had one of those celebration dinners that my mom organizes when she wants to feel like we're still a happy, functional group of people. Spoiler alert, we are absolutely not. The occasion? My cousin Ethan got promoted at his tech job. He's now a senior systems analyst or something. I don't know what that means, but everyone acted like he was the second coming of Christ. My mom went all out. Fancy roast, wine glasses instead of the usual mismatched cups, even lit the good candles. Ethan brought his girlfriend, of course, Natalie. Perfect hair, perfect teeth, perfect everything. I tried not to be petty, but when she walked in and kissed Ethan's cheek, all I could think was, if she knew what I know, she wouldn't be here right now. But I'll get to that. So we're sitting at the table. Everyone's toasting Ethan. Clinking glasses, fake laughing, and Aunt Margaret, my dad's sister, raises her wine and goes, "We're just so proud of Ethan's promotion. Unlike some people who can't seem to keep a job for more than 6 months." And she looked directly at me. I nearly choked on my water. There was this pause, this thick, horrible silence, and my mom smiled. Like it was just a quirky little joke. My dad shifted uncomfortably. My brother Jake looked down at his plate like it might suddenly develop the ability to teleport him out of there. I wish I had said something badass, something that shut her down. But I didn't. I just laughed awkwardly and mumbled something like, "Guess I'm just trying to find the right fit." I don't think anyone really noticed how badly my hands were shaking. It's true. I've been kind of lost lately. I dropped out of my graduate program last year, burned out, depressed, and just done. Since then, I've bounced between jobs, barista, temp office assistant, retail. Nothing felt right. Every failure just made me sink deeper. And my family, especially Margaret, loves to remind me of it. After dinner, I went outside for some air. I needed space. That's when Ethan followed me out. "You okay?" he asked. I looked at him, tall, confident, polished in that effortless way some people are. I hated how easy it seemed for him. "I'm fine," I said, lying through my teeth. He lit a cigarette, even though he told his mom he quit. "You know she's just a bitch, right?" he said, exhaling smoke. I forced a laugh. "She's your mom." "Yeah, and she's still a bitch." That almost made me smile. Then he said something that stopped me cold. "You didn't tell anyone, right?" My stomach dropped. "What?" He looked at me, suddenly serious. "About, Natalie, the thing." My brain was spinning. Because yeah, I did know. I found out 2 months ago, completely by accident. Natalie was cheating on him. I wasn't snooping, I swear. I was just at this small bar with my coworker and I saw her. Arms wrapped around some guy who definitely wasn't Ethan. They were kissing like they hadn't a care in the world. She was wearing the same necklace she wore to Christmas dinner. I didn't say anything at the time. I told myself it wasn't my business. That I couldn't prove it. That maybe I was mistaken. But I wasn't. And Ethan knew. "You knew?" I whispered. He looked away. "Yeah. I mean, I suspected. Then I saw messages, but I can't deal with it right now. Not with work and mom and all this pressure." "So you're just pretending it's not happening?" He didn't answer. Something twisted inside me. I thought about all the praise he got. All the times Aunt Margaret said I should be more like Ethan, the golden child, the success story. And here he was, living a lie. He flicked the cigarette, barely smoked, into the grass. "Just, please, don't say anything." And I nodded. Because even though I wanted to scream the truth into everyone's smug faces, I still loved Ethan. We grew up like siblings. He was the only one who didn't treat me like a failure. I owed him that. But things didn't stay quiet. For long. That was Saturday, Monday morning. Natalie messaged me on Instagram. It was a single line. "We need to talk. I know you saw us. And that's when I knew everything was about to spiral. We need to talk. I know you saw us. That message sat in my inbox like a ticking bomb. I read it at least 10 times, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. My first reaction was panic. Did she tell Ethan I'd seen her? Was this some kind of threat? Was she going to lie and say I was stalking her or something? I mean, she was the one cheating. What the hell did she want from me? I didn't respond right away. I spent the entire day spiraling, overthinking every possibility, replaying the night I saw her at the bar like it was a crime scene. That guy she was with was tall, beard, tattoo on his forearm. I remember thinking they looked way too comfortable with each other to be just friends. I'd taken a picture, not to be creepy. I wasn't even sure why I did it. Maybe because part of me knew that if I ever did say something, no one would believe me without proof, especially not Ethan. I finally messaged her back that night. Me. I don't know what you're talking about. Natalie. Don't play dumb. You saw us at Johnny's. You took a picture. Me. Why are you messaging me? Natalie. Because I want to fix this before you decide to ruin everything. Fix this? That phrase made me nauseous. She was talking like I was the problem, not the fact that she was two-timing the so-called love of her life. I waited a few minutes before replying. I needed to be careful. Me. I haven't said anything, but maybe you should talk to Ethan. Natalie. He already knows. We worked through it. Stay out of it. Worked through it? That's not what Ethan made it sound like. He was barely keeping it together Saturday night, and then she sent one more message that chilled me to the bone. Natalie. Just remember, your little secret isn't safe either. I stared at the screen for a full minute, cold sweat creeping down my spine. My little secret? No. No way. She couldn't know. Unless I locked my phone and just sat there, trying not to hyperventilate. Because the only person who could have told her was Ethan. I confronted him the next day, texted him to meet me at this crappy diner we used to go to in high school. He showed up in his work clothes, tie loosened, sleeves rolled up like he was trying to look casual. He looked tired, older than I remembered. I'm not in the mood for small talk, I said. Did you tell Natalie about me? About what I told you last year? He froze mid-sip of his coffee. Didn't answer right away. Just stared at the napkin holder like it might jump up and save him. Did you? I pressed. He finally nodded. I didn't mean to. It just came up. Came up? Ethan, I told you that in confidence. You swore you wouldn't say anything. He ran a hand through his hair. I know. I messed up, okay? She was asking why I still talk to you after everything, and I snapped. After everything? I repeated, my voice rising. What the hell does that mean? He looked around, lowering his voice. I didn't say it like that. She twisted it. I said you've had a rough year, and I told her about the attempt. I didn't mean to throw you under the bus. The attempt. That's what they all called it now. The attempt. Like it was some abstract event instead of the worst night of my life. Last December, I tried to take my own life. Pills. Alone in my apartment. I didn't leave a note. I didn't plan it. I just didn't want to exist anymore. Ethan was the one who found me. He was the emergency contact I forgot I still had listed. And now he told Natalie. Natalie, who used it like a weapon in a single text. You have no idea what you've done, I said, trembling. He looked genuinely upset. I didn't think she'd use it like that. I thought, what? That she'd be sympathetic? She's not. She's cruel, and now she's holding it over my head. He opened his mouth, but I stood up. I couldn't sit there and pretend we were okay. Not anymore. I left him at that table. I didn't hear from either of them for a few days. But then, Friday night, I got another message, this time from a burner account. I can't do this anymore. I don't love him. He's not who he thinks he is. If you don't tell him, I will. There was no name, no profile picture. But I knew it was from the guy Natalie was cheating with. Or maybe even Natalie herself trying to bait me. Either way, it shook me. Because it meant things weren't as stable between them as they were pretending to be. I didn't respond. But I couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. My chest was tight all the time. I started having nightmares again, waking up gasping, convinced the whole house was on fire or I was trapped underwater. Then today was the breaking point. We had another family gathering. Smaller this time. Just me, my parents, Ethan, and Aunt Margaret. Everyone pretended things were fine, as usual. Ethan smiled too much. I barely looked at him. And then Aunt Margaret opened her smug little mouth again. She was talking about some article she read. About people making excuses for their failures instead of taking responsibility. She said, "It's always mental. Health this, mental health that. God forbid someone just admits they're lazy. Unlike Ethan, who pulls himself together and actually contributes." She said this while cutting her chicken, not even looking up. Like she was just talking about the weather. I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up, glass in hand, voice shaking. I said, "You know what? Since we're being honest, Ethan's girlfriend is cheating on him. And he knows. And he's too much of a coward to do anything about it." The room exploded. Ethan's girlfriend is cheating on him, and he knows. And he's too much of a coward to do anything about it. The second the words left my mouth, I regretted them. But also didn't. It was like vomiting up poison that had been burning through my insides for months. Everyone froze. Forks midair, jaws half open. That thick, choking silence settled over the table again, just like it had the week before. Ethan's face went pale. Not red with anger, pale. Like I'd just ripped the air out of his lungs. My mom whispered my name, sharp and warning. That's enough, but I wasn't done. Yeah, that's right. Natalie's been seeing someone else. I saw her. They were all over each other. Ethan knew. He asked me not to say anything, and I didn't, because I actually care about him. But then he and his girlfriend decide to threaten me like I'm the problem? No, I'm done pretending. Aunt Margaret dropped her fork with a clatter. "What the hell is going on?" Ethan finally spoke. "Jesus Christ," he muttered, pushing away from the table so hard his chair scraped the floor. He didn't look at anyone, not even me. "Thanks for the ambush. Real classy." Then he stormed out of the dining room and slammed the door to the porch behind him. Mom stood up, flustered, flapping her hands like she could physically smooth the tension. "Can we please not do this tonight?" "I didn't start it," I said. "She did." I pointed at Aunt Margaret, who looked like she was personally offended that reality had the audacity to contradict her perfect image of her son. She sneered. "So what? You're going to torch the whole family just because you're miserable?" "No, I'm setting fire to the bullshit. There's a difference." My dad finally spoke, voice low but stern. "Enough, both of you." I pushed my chair back. I couldn't breathe in that house anymore. I grabbed my coat and left without another word. Outside, the cold slapped me in the face. Ethan was sitting on the front steps, head in his hands. I paused at the door. Part of me wanted to leave. Another part knew we needed to finish this. I sat down a few feet away. "I didn't mean to humiliate you," I said quietly. He didn't look up. "Well, you did." I didn't lie. Doesn't mean you had to say it. We sat in silence for a while. Cars passed. A dog barked somewhere in the distance. The night was too still. "I kept your secret," I said. "Even when it killed me. Even when she used mine against me." He finally turned to me, eyes glassy. "She said you'd ruin everything if I didn't get ahead of it. She told me you'd make it worse, that you were unstable. That word, unstable. Do you believe that?" I asked, voice cracking. He didn't answer, and that hurt more than anything. I stood up. "She's going to destroy you, Ethan, and I won't watch it happen." The next day, all hell broke loose. I woke up to texts, dozens of them, from Jake. My brother. From my mom. Even from an unknown number that turned out to be one of Ethan's coworkers. Apparently, someone had leaked screenshots. Messages between Natalie and her mystery guy, photos, and then a video. Blurry, grainy, but unmistakable. Her and tattoo forearm guy at a motel. It had been emailed anonymously to Ethan's entire office, including HR Ethan's job. His precious promotion was now in jeopardy because of a conduct review. Apparently, they were looking into whether he knowingly brought someone into company events who was engaged in inappropriate behavior with another employee. Yep, turns out, her mystery guy also worked at his company. And you know what? It wasn't me who leaked it. To this day, I still don't know who did. Maybe it was Tattoo Guy. Maybe Natalie finally snapped. Maybe karma just got creative. All I know is that everything blew open at once. Natalie tried to deny it at first, said it was a deep fake. Then she tried blaming me. She told Ethan I must have hacked her phone, that I was obsessed with him, that I was unstable and vindictive. I thought Ethan would believe her, but he didn't. He showed up at my place that night, no warning, just knocked like nothing had happened. When I opened the door, he looked broken. "I'm sorry," he said. "I'm so fucking sorry." I didn't say anything. He stepped in, stood in the middle of my living room like he didn't know what to do with his hands. She manipulated me. She used me. I defended her to everyone, even you. I just stared at him. "You tried to protect me," he said. "And I made you feel like you were the villain." I nodded. "Yeah, you did." He started crying. Not sobbing, not dramatic, just tears falling silently. Didn't hug him. I didn't tell him it was okay. Because it wasn't. But I also didn't shut the door in his face. Now, here we are. 2 days later. Natalie's gone. Moved out, blocked everyone. Ethan's on unpaid leave. Aunt Margaret hasn't spoken to anyone. My mom keeps calling, but I haven't picked up. Part of me feels like I finally burned down the rotten house we'd all been pretending was still a home. And I'm not sorry, but I also don't feel victorious. I feel tired, sad. Like I've been holding my breath for years and finally exhaled, but forgot how to breathe afterward. Ethan asked if we could talk again. Said he wants to rebuild things. I told him I need time, because forgiveness isn't the same as forgetting, and love isn't the same as loyalty. Forgiveness isn't the same as forgetting, and love isn't the same as loyalty. I kept thinking about that line for days after I said it to Ethan. It felt final, like I'd drawn a line in the sand and dared anyone, him, my family, Natalie, to try and cross it. But life has a way of smudging even the clearest lines, especially when you're dealing with blood. After everything exploded, I expected my phone to stay quiet. Honestly, I hoped it would. But instead, it rang more than it had in months. My mom, my dad, Jake, even Aunt Margaret, though her messages were less concerned family member and more rage with a side of passive aggression. "You've humiliated this family. Your cousin needed support, not betrayal. Your behavior is becoming a pattern. A pattern." That one stuck in my throat. I guess the pattern she meant was me being the problem anytime someone else didn't get to keep up their perfect little mask. But then something happened I didn't expect. Jake, my younger brother, the quiet one who always stayed out of the drama, called me, and he didn't yell. He didn't blame me, he just asked if I was okay. I nearly cried. He came over that night with cheap takeout and a six-pack, and we sat on the floor of my tiny apartment and talked more than we had in the last 5 years combined. I knew about Natalie, he admitted, halfway. Through his second beer, I looked up so fast I almost knocked over the food. "What?" I saw her. Last fall. She was with some guy at that art exhibit downtown, holding hands. I didn't get a good look, but it wasn't Ethan. I didn't say anything because I figured, what's the point? Everyone worships her, and I didn't want to get in the middle of it. "Why didn't you tell me?" He shrugged. "Same reason. You didn't tell anyone. We're conditioned to shut up. That hit hard. Conditioned to shut up. To play nice. To eat insults with a smile. To make excuses for people who never deserved them. I wish you'd said something, I told him. I wish you had said something earlier, he shot back. I mean, what was the plan? Let Ethan marry her and find out after the honeymoon? I didn't answer. Because the truth was, I didn't know what the plan was. I was surviving one emotional landmine at a time. A few days later, I got a letter. In the mail, yes, an actual handwritten letter from Aunt Margaret. It was 4 pages long. At first, I almost threw it out unopened. But my curiosity got the better of me. Here's the short version. She regrets the things she said at dinner, but insists they came from a place of concern. She wishes I'd handled things differently. She said Ethan is deeply hurt and trying to heal. And then, this is the kicker. She said, maybe I was right in principle, but I should have kept family matters private. That last part made me laugh out loud. Private. As if she hadn't publicly shamed me in front of the whole damn family. Every chance she got. I didn't write back. Instead, I did something I should have done a long time ago. I finally told my parents everything. About the messages, about Natalie's threats, about the depression, about the attempt. We sat in our old living room, me on the edge of the same couch I used to build blanket forts on, and I told them the truth. All of it. My mom cried. My dad looked like he'd been punched. To their credit, they didn't try to spin it. They didn't minimize it. My dad even apologized for how long they let Margaret run her mouth unchecked. We thought she was helping you, he said quietly. No, I told him. She was helping herself, making me small so she could feel big. That landed harder than I thought it would. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. About a week after the big blow-up, I got a message on Facebook from someone named Kelsey Grant. It started like this. Hi, you don't know me, but I used to date Natalie's ex, the guy she's seeing now, or was. She explained everything. Apparently Natalie had been involved with this guy, his name was Brandon, before she even met Ethan. They'd had an on-again, off-again thing for years. It never officially ended. Kelsey said Natalie had a pattern. She'd latch onto guys with status, money, or good family reputations. Cheat with someone less complicated, then pivot back to whichever relationship offered more security. She used to brag about how easy it was to manipulate people who were broken, Kelsey wrote. She'd say things like, if someone's already drowning, all you have to do is offer them a floaty and they'll do anything for you. I stared at that line for a long time. She meant Ethan, didn't she? I messaged back. Kelsey replied, yeah, but also, maybe you. That was the moment I realized how deep this went. Natalie didn't just cheat, she calculated. She found cracks and poured acid into them, and I had been so desperate to protect Ethan that I didn't see I was bleeding too. But now I'm starting to stitch things back together. Ethan and I are texting again. Slowly. Carefully. He's in therapy. So am I. We're not pretending this is something we can fix overnight, and that's okay. We're allowed to take our time, because healing isn't linear. It's a spiral. Some days you rise, some days you sink. The trick is to keep going anyway. Closure isn't always pretty. Sometimes it looks like ash. Sometimes it sounds like silence. But it's still peace, just a different kind. A month passed. Then 2. Ethan and I stayed in touch, but at a distance. I think we both needed time to sit with the mess, to really look at it instead of just sweeping it under the rug like our family always did. There was no big reunion. No dramatic apology in the rain, just 2 people trying to be honest, maybe for the first time in years. Then one night, Ethan called. Not a text, a call. I need to tell you something, he said. I could hear it in his voice, that crackle of nerves, that pre-confession tension. What is it? I've been going through some stuff. Therapy's been good, hard, whatever, but my therapist keeps pushing this idea that I should confront my patterns. And, well, there's something I never told you. About Natalie. I froze. Okay. She didn't just go after you when she felt threatened. She went after someone else too, a long time ago. What do you mean? He took a breath. Before we dated, when we were just co-workers, she used to talk about this guy she knew in college. She said he had a sister who was jealous of her, always trying to warn people about her. Said the girl was obsessed, tried to ruin her life. I didn't think much of it at the time. He paused. I felt my skin go cold. She told me the girl was named, well, your name. I thought it was a coincidence. I was completely silent, but it wasn't, he said softly. It was you. She knew who you were before we ever got close. She targeted me. It felt like the floor disappeared beneath me. She told me all these stories about you being manipulative, dramatic, toxic, and I believed her. For years, I let that narrative live in the back of my head. Even when I defended you, I still wondered. My mouth was dry. So she planned this? Maybe not everything, but she knew what she was doing. She didn't just cheat. She used you as the scapegoat before anything ever happened. I sat down suddenly dizzy. It all made sense. Every snide comment, every time Ethan doubted me, every time the family dismissed me like I was overreacting, Natalie had planted seeds before I even knew there was a garden. I'm so sorry, Ethan said. I should have questioned it. I should have known better. I couldn't speak. The betrayal felt fresh again, sharper, somehow, because now it had layers. This wasn't just about a toxic relationship or a dysfunctional family. This was a long game, and I'd been the pawn. I didn't sleep much that night. I kept thinking about every moment I second-guessed myself, every apology I made that I didn't. Oh, every time I shrunk myself to keep the peace. She saw that in me, and she exploited it. But I also realized something else. I'm still here, and I'm stronger than I ever gave myself credit for. A few weeks later, I went to a family dinner. Yes, another one. I wasn't going to go. I almost bailed 3 times. But Jake said he'd be there, and that our parents were actually trying this time. That they wanted to talk. Really talk. I walked in expecting tight smiles and awkward tension. And sure, there was a bit of that. But there was also something else. Space. Real, actual space for me to speak. To breathe. To not feel like I was being watched for the next thing to weaponize against me. My mom hugged me longer than usual. My dad asked me questions about therapy. Jake cracked jokes that made Aunt Margaret roll her eyes, which honestly was the most satisfying thing of all. Ethan wasn't there. He'd decided to skip it. Not out of anger, but because, for once, he didn't want to be the center of everything. We talked later, on a walk. No pressure, no expectations. I don't know who I am without trying to impress people, he said. I've been chasing everyone's approval for so long I forgot to check if I even liked the person I was becoming. I smiled. You don't have to impress me, just be real. That's enough. We didn't kiss. We didn't declare undying love, we just kept walking, side by side. So here's where things stand now. Natalie disappeared off social media. Rumor is she moved out of state. Ethan's job offered him a different position, lower than before, but still stable. He took it, willingly. Aunt Margaret hasn't changed much, but she's quieter now, more cautious with her jabs. Maybe because she knows we're not playing nice anymore. And me? I'm still rebuilding, still untangling the stories I was told from the truth I'm learning to live in, but I'm doing better. Some days are heavy. Some are light, but they're mine. And after everything, every lie, every betrayal, every dinner where I was the punchline, I've finally figured something out. You don't have to burn bridges with people who lit the matches. Just walk away and let them choke on the smoke.